So our next activity now to see how to query our data from the table by using join. And before that again, let me put this record away from here and save this separately now. Okay, so copy and I put it here now and I'm saving it separately. Where's the one I just saved now? Okay. Using order by and group by clause. Okay, so this is 2.5 and this is part 1. Okay, so I think that's this information that by group. Okay, so that is okay. So now okay, so now our next topic now is what how to can query our table. When you say querying table using join, the importance of query table using join is that what there may be sometime we might want to retrieve the record from multiple what tables. Like here now we have so many tables here that contain so many records so far, just like the one we have just displayed before. I want to return all the record from what from supplier here now. These are the and I still want to return the record from what from item detail. Okay, and I want to display record from categories. You see that these are the three major table that one category. These are the three major table I have that contain different record. But there's sometimes they will say that one as you return the supplier name and the product name they supply. Imagine that. They want you to get all the work, the report in this particular format. They say display record of what you call what? The supplier supplier name. After supplier name, they want the product product name supplied and they also want what? The price. And if you look at this particular table we have, there's no table that contain these three information. There's no table that have a supplier name and product name because if you look at the supplier table here now, you see that only supplier name is what you have in supplier table. There's no product name. And if you look at the item detail that contain product, only the item name is what we have. Okay. Okay. So only the item name is what we have here. We don't have a supplier name. But question now is how can we retrieve a record from this? How can we get a record from the supplier name, so for the supplier table? And also how can I retrieve this column for supplier table and still retrieve this column from the item table? You get it now? And that is what our challenge is now. We want to get this information so we can use what we call join. because in database management, they say to retrieve data from multiple table, we can apply word join with the common attribute. Common attribute mean that what? Whatever table you are going to use, you are retrieving record from, those table must have a common word column. And thank God our table here already have a common column, because if you look at the supplier ID here, we also have a supplier ID here that have a relationship. So the join can be applied on this table. Once there is a common column, you can use word the join. But there are different type of the join we can use to retrieve those word record. We have inner join, outer join, the natural and cross join too. But we are going to look at the two most important, which is inner join and the what? Outer word join. To use the inner join retrieve the record from multiple table after comparing the value present in the common word column. But inner join retrieve the row with the value that satisfy the join condition. Once the row from both word table are matched, inner join retrieve only the common word column in both word tables. That's what the inner join does. You get it now? For example now, if you look at this particular two table, you will notice that we have four supplier, and the four supplier we have, there's supplier 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 in supplier table. But if you now look at the wall and the item wall table here, you will notice that all the supplier we have there is 2 which also available here in the supplier table. There also 5 which is supplier table. There also 3, there also 1, 3, 3, 5, 1. You will notice that there's one particular supplier that is not common in both table in terms of their value. That is Abayomi Umar, supplier 4. There's no product he has submitted. So if we use the inner join will not return the record of Abayomi. Inner join will only return the record of of the other supplier. And that's what they say the inner join does. So for us now to use the inner join, our statement will go like this again, by say select based on what they want us to do. Since I'm going to retrieve the record from two table, this is going to be what? A supplier table now. Supplier table, okay? The first column here is going to be from supplier table like this. Okay, that is one. Why this remaining one going to be from what? Item detail table. That means these two column come from item detail table. Do you get it now? So I will now represent, I say S represent supplier table, dot first name, because it is the supplier table. I have the first name. I will say comma S again, dot last name, comma I for item, dot item name, and again I dot price. Let me copy this and put in my SQL Server environment now before we implement it. So I can write something like this now. S means I'm picking the first name for supplier table. So that S represents supplier. You get it now? So though you can use any letter, last name. So I here mean the item table, but the item name column, and the item price column. That is it. You get it now? So I will now specify the first table, which I will say from which table? Supplier, as S. You see now? I will now use it and say on. I will now say join, since that's the join I want to use. If I say join, I say inner join, the same thing. I will say inner join with with the second table, which is item detail, as as I. Here mean I already made the item detail table to become I. That's why I use I in this example here now. So I will now say on on the common column now. The common column in the supplier table and the item detail table. I will first pick the first one from the supplier table. I say S. dot supplier ID. This is a column from supplier ID. If you look at supplier ID here now, that is it. I will now pick the same supplier ID on the wall, on the item detail, which is sup ID here. I'll now say equal to what? I dot what? SUP ID. That's all. You get it now. So once I press this enter key, you can see all these are the common column. You can see the last name here. You can see the item name here. You can see the price here. That means the Badmus Peter supply USB. The same Badmus Peter supply light pen. The same Badmus Peter supply smart TV. Atiku Abu is the one that supply all this food. Why did Tijani Balogun now supply all this? That is it. You get it now. So these are the one. The Tijani Balogun supply Pepsi. We also have Tosin Promise, another supplier again. They also supply other one, other type of food. So these are showing the world how the record are picking from different world tables by using what you call what inner word join. If you notice that there's one particular record that is not returned, that is the record for four of Abayomi Umar. We have Tijani, we have Atiku, we have Badmus, we have Tosin, because Abayomi Umar is not common from this particular work table. That is the first inner join. It can join two tables, it can join three tables. But another example now is that what is that when we look at the next join, you can see this example now. This example is something like showing what the system return the output from the what customer table and address table. The common attribute is the address ID on both table now. So this record from here are coming from the customer table, while this record is coming from the address table. That's use of the join. Because once you split your table into the different table, you can use join to pick all the record from different tables and combine it together in a single result set. Okay. And apart from this one again, just a minute. So, and apart from this again, we want to look at the outer join. The outer join, just like inner join, the outer join displays the set result set containing all row from one table and the matching row from other table. So, but outer join display null for the column of the related table where it does not find any matching record. If there is particular table that there is no matching record there, outer join replace it with with a null. You get it now? You know there are two tables now. So the outer join is going to return the record from one table and only the matching from another table. Just like this one we have here now. We have supplier table here, we have item detail table here. So if you use the outer join, it is either outer join return all the record from supplier tables, and if there's any matching record from item detail, it will return it. But if there's no matching, it will replace with the null. Or the outer join return the record from item detail and matching from the supplier. It depends on it. You get it now? So this is what the outer join work. But there are two types of the outer join. We have left outer join, we have right outer join. The left outer join is the one that return all the rows specific from the table on the left side of the left outer join. If I'm using left outer join now, that means the supplier table is on the left while the item detail is on the right. The left outer join return all the record from the supplier table. If you are going to implement that again, it will look like this again for the same record we just do. When I say supplier like this, I'll now say left outer join like this. It won't be inner join again. Can you see again? Left outer join. So it means that what all supplier record is going to be returned, like all the record of supplier, including Abayomi. You get it now? And only the matching from the item word detail. So once I press enter key, you can see what you see there now. Even what you see now is showing that what the Badmus records appear, Atiku record appear, Tijani record appear, Abayomi record too also appear because on the left return all the record from the left. It also return Tosin promise. But if you now look at it, you see that what item name for all the other what supplier they appear, and under the Abayomi it is not, simply because there is no product supplied by Abayomi. You don't have any product that is being supplied by what Abayomi. That is it. Something like this record is telling us that what Abayomi is one of the supplier that have not what supply us any product. Because sometimes company can see that what out of all our supplier, how many of them have not yet supply us a product? Then outer join can be used to what to implement that again, and this is what we call the left what outer join. Do you get it now? So what if you now say, well, you want to implement the right wall outer join? The right outer join means all the record on the right side and the matching on the left wall side. That is it. So, and that one can give us another type of record. Now, I now turn this one to what? To the right wall outer join. That means system to return all the record on the wall on the item detail because they're on the right, and the matching from the wall left. So when I press enter key here now, you see the same record is what we also will have here. These are the record from the wall from the left, from the right now, matching from the wall from the left. So the right outer join and the left outer join both are the one of the word, the important word statement you can use to do what? To retrieve record from multiple word tables. Are you with us now? With me now? So that is from this particular join. But another important here now we want to look at is the what? The use of the subquery. A subquery also used to what? Is a statement within another statement. Subquery is another statement that can also use to query multiple tables. If you are trying to retrieve record from the more than one table, we use join and we use subquery. But subquery is in a form of what? SQL statement that is used within another SQL word statement. But the second SQL statement must be put inside the where or having word clause or insert again. So in the word SQL database, the database engine will execute the inner query and then use the result of it to calculate the result set for the outer word query. That's how the subquery work. Whatever the word query you write, there will be inner one, there will be outer one. For example here now, if I write this particular word statement like this, I say select first name, okay, comma, last word, last name, and I say from what? Supplier, like this. I say from supplier like this, and I say where supplier ID greater than what? Now greater than 2. Can you say again? Greater than 2. This is the first word query, complete query now. You can want to turn this query to the next word, to the subquery now. This instead of greater than 2 here, do you get it now? I will now replace this 2 with another SQL statement like this by open bracket here. This will now be something like this. Say select again. What am I going to select? Supplier word ID. Simply because supplier ID is the word this where is using as a clause here. That means this second query here is going to return supplier ID, which you are going to use for the condition of the first supplier ID in the where clause here. I will now say what? From item what? Details. Do you get it now? From item detail. Maybe I say where QTY greater than 1 than 15 here now. What this one mean is that one, I'm creating a query. This one mean I want to get the name of the supplier that supply item that their quantity is more than 15. Because if you look at this particular one, item detail table here now. Look at the item detail table. How can I get the name of the supplier that supply item more than 15 here? Can you see? How can I get the name of supplier? There's no way I can get the name of supplier for any product more than 15 here. Because the name of those supplier are now exist in the another word table. So the only thing we can do now is since the name of supplier is in the supplier table, I'll first write the query then go to return the name of those supplier. And that's why this particular query say returns first name and last name for supplier table, where the ID, supplier ID now. Since I know the supplier ID is in the second table that have supplier ID again, I will now say where supplier ID greater than supplier ID from item detail, where quantity greater than 15. Because they are telling us that you want to see the name of supplier for the quantity greater than 15. But this quantity now is in the item detail. That's where we use select supplier ID from item detail. You get it now? But there's one more thing we need to understand here now. That is this particular word greater than symbol. Because you have the important role it play when you are using the nested word query. You get it now? That I say a nested query is a query that is used within another word query. And that query must be put inside the where word clause. In this sake again, this my first query here. And this is a where clause. Do you get it now? And now in this where clause, I now put the second word query here now. Do you get it now? So I can remove this bracket. I can remove this one again too. Do you get it now? So when system is going to execute this query, the system will first execute this inner query first. When execute the inner query here, it will retrieve the word, the quantity greater than 15. When system retrieve quantity greater than 15, system is going to return their supplier word ID. The supplier ID of those quantity greater than 15, they can be more than one. System will now use that supplier ID to come and look for what? For the first name and the last name. For every supplier ID returned from this inner query, system use the ID to get their name in the what? Supplier table. You get it now? So, but if okay, but now if your subquery is using more than one record, there's something we have to do now. But first and foremost, let's execute this statement here now. I'm gonna put it on a straight line here. Okay, so I copy this statement. Okay, I'll now put it right here now, semicolon. Okay, semicolon here and execute. Can you see? System is not going to do what? Is it QTY? QTY, yes now. Send the QTY. Syntax error, select, near select. Okay. The reason why we're having the syntax error is that what? The number of record returned by this inner query is more than one. So anytime the number of record the inner query is going to return is more than one, because if we say quantity greater than 15, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. They are more than one record. So we cannot use what? The equal sign we use here. We can't use this greater than sign. Sorry, it's supposed to say equal. Okay, where supply ID equal to this. Let me press enter key now. Sorry. Okay, so I'm returning back here. Why do I use that? And now press enter key. Okay, select. Is supplier ID correct? Okay, select. Oh, sorry. This is where the error is now. If you look at this query here now, we don't have this supplier ID spelling in the item detail table. This supplier ID is not displayed in the item detail table. It is SUPID. SUPID. That's why system is returning this one error. So let's try this one again. Okay. Okay. So now I can now change this one to greater than sign, because if your inner query returning more than one record, we use greater than. Where is it? Item detail. Select supply ID from item detail. Okay. Another thing we can do now is let me execute this record separately here first and see what system is going to return. So copy this and return this record here now. So this is going to be supplier ID now. And I press enter key. So this is going to be semicolon. Okay, you can see that means if I use the inner query, system is going to return all this particular record. So now it is the name of this supplier we want to retrieve now. You get it now? It is their name we want to retrieve. So here now I can now add the first query by saying select the first word name, comma, last name from supplier. I will now say where supplier ID now in, very good, in this select. You get it now? In this select, where supplier ID in this one select, not equal, because this inner query is going to return more than one record. Are you getting it now? Because it's returning more than one record, we use in. But if the inner query return a single record, we use equal to. So once I press enter key here now, can you see? These are the name of all those supplier, like Peter, supplier 2, supplier 3, supplier 1, supplier 3, supplier 5, supplier 2. That means 1, 2, 3, and 4. That means there are 4 suppliers. System go to return their name now. That means these are the supplier that supply the product that is more than 15 in the item detail table. So the first query here is this, and this is the inner query, and this is the outer query. Don't forget the importance of this. The reason why we use this in is simply because this inner query here is returning record that's more than 1 when I tested it here. Do you get now? But if your inner query is returning 1 record, that means we are not going to use in. For example now, if I say where quantity equal to, now it's equal to 100, I want to see how many suppliers supply quantity equal to 100. That is it here now. So if I look at this particular, you see only one supplier, only one quantity is 100, which is Pepsi, and the supplier name. So if I want to say how many quantity is 100, now there will be only one quantity. So that means I'm expecting this particular query to return only one record. So because it's return one record now, let me press enter key here. Can you see? That is it. But what happen if I change it to what? To the equal to again instead of in? Can you see? It still return the same record. Do you get it now? The reason why that one, this one return what? Only one record. Do you get it now? But once the inner table is returning more than one record, remember I told you we cannot use what? This one now is return more than one record. I use in. You can see record. What happen if I use equal to here now? You see that will be may give me error now. You see there's an error. Good. System now telling us that what this subquery return more than one row. So because it return more than one row, so we cannot use equal sign. So we have to use in clause for it. Do you get it now? So that is the one how this particular one nested query work is used. In another example again, we can have nested query 2 or 3 times. Let's see if we can use it 3 times again. Now let's look at some of this table again now. We have a category or we have category. That means we will have 3 tables related together now. We have category ID. We have category ID again. Relationship. Oh, let me use describe. Let me check whether we can use 3. But check it. This one going to have to do with what? Describe whether we have table with 3 relationship. Describe employee. Okay. Describe employee did not have relationship with any table. Describe a supplier. Okay. Yeah, no relationship again. Describe category. Okay, and describe item detail. Okay, so it is only item detail now. Item detail. So it's only item detail. So, but you can still have 3 nested query. Apart from the first 2 here now, you can still have another one. Depend on the type of output you want to retrieve from your database record. Okay, so that's why I say using in or nothing to match a column value in the outer query with any of the value in the list returned by subquery, you need to use in keyword. That is it now. So if it is required that the column value in outer query should not match with any of the value in the list returned by the subquery, you can use nothing. You get now, because the result can be changed with in or nothing. You get now. That's why we say in here now. The in we use the mean whatever record in this system return it. But what happens if I use nothing? Maybe you can see some record again. So I say not in here now. Exactly. So these are the record that are not available in this item detail we have here now. Okay. So this one is one of the supplier that did not supply us any record initially. If you can still remember the record of what? All our supplier. Okay, Abayomi RAM, you can see now. So it does not available in those records that it's not part of those supplier. Okay, so that's for the subquery 2, and that maga end for this. Okay, so that is exactly where we are going to stop for today now. So the use of understanding number 1, we talk about use of the join to query multiple table, and also use of the sub query too to also query multiple word table. And also we talk about using of the sort to sort the record by using what? Sort using what? A clause called what? Order what? Order by. And also grouping of what? Of data. Grouping what? Data from what? From table again. Also very one important. You get it now. So that is exactly what to do today. So thank you for your time, and please don't forget our video we are having on the wall on this on YouTube. Please take time and download it because we might remove it very soon too. So thank you for your time. Have a nice weekend.